What's going on, guys? I believe you are having a great time with coding and looking forward to learn more to improve your skills in web development as it is in this YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to learn about advanced cascading style sheet, the advanced CSS. In this video, I'm going to cover modern techniques used in CSS, which is used in creating amazing websites these days. If you haven't learned the HTML and the CSS course, make sure to go and learn that because that's the basics for this advanced CSS. Link is in the description. So if you haven't learned it, go and cover it before you come and catch up with us in our advanced cascading style sheet. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started with this course. Okay guys, so let's start this course with a color and its functions. So right here I have my HTML file and my CSS file, and I've connected everything together. If you don't know how to do this, go and watch the HTML and CSS full course in my channel before you continue, because I taught all of them inside that course. Okay, so now let's begin with color styling using keywords. Most browsers support using keywords to specify a color. For example, let's create a heading tag and name it hello. Inside our CSS file, we can give it a color of blue. So the color blue is the keyword. It's just the keyword, and you can get a color from it. If I save it right here and I check it inside the browser, you can see the hello is blue. It's not any other color, it's blue. But CSS colors may also be represented by hex triplets, like the RGBA. This is how the RGBA also works. It's a combination of colors. RGB is a combination of colors, some specific colors. So let's say we want to give this a color RGB. We are adding some colors together to get it, and most is red, yellow, and blue, or red, green, and blue. I'm going to show you what it really looks like. Let's say we give it a keyword of blue and we tap on this thing. If you tap on it, you see RGB 00255. So if you change it around, you see it gives you a value. If you change it around the blue, you see if it gives you a value. So if I save this and I check in the browser, you see it gives me a specific color. A specific color for the element. So as you can see, here is it. So RGB 85, 85, 149. We add the colors together to find a specific area, combination of make some colors, but not it's the actual color itself. So let's say you want to add more brightness to your color, then the starting should be a little, let's say 255. That's how you start. So if I give it 255, 255, 255, it's white. Alright, so the more you change it and you bring it down, then you add more colors, then you get more different colors as you keep changing them. So if you check in the browser, you see it gives you some sort of color. And now we also have the RGBA, and the A represents an alpha value, an additional alpha value that we add to the numbers inside the color brackets. So I can just add 1 to this thing and increase something. I can add 10 to it, I will increase something. I can add 5. So let's add the 1 and let's save it, and you can see still the color is still active. We can change it to, let's say we want green, but we want light green, a little light, what we like, a specific color that we like. So let's choose light green, and inside our light we want to let it get closer to the white so that the green will be a little lighter. So this is a light green. Now if I save it, I can add, let's say, 1 to it, an alpha value to increase the brightness as well. So you see we get it. So to see the actual thing, let's create a body tag and give it a background of the same color that we created here. So let's copy this RGB, say green. Let's set it to green, and let's set this to RGBA 0, 255, 245, 255. So it generated a new color. Now you see it's affecting the background of the web page. So this is how it looks like. Now we also have the HSL value. The HSL notation stands for the hue, saturation, and the lightness. The H represents the hue, the S represents the saturation, and the L represents the brightness, the lightness of the thing that you want. So let's say HSL. This is the HSL, and I want the color to be, let's say, 54. So that means green. Now the rest is represented by percentages, the saturation and the lightness. So I can set this saturation to 30%, and I can set the brightness to 80%. If I save this and I check my background, you can see this is the background that we get. Now it's a color called 54 with the saturation of 30% and with the lightness of 80%. Isn't that simple? And you can use it to in your day-to-day work with HTML and CSS. And you can also add a value, the alpha value, which is added to the RGBA. You can also add the same thing to the HSL to make it HSLA, and you can add an additional value here, 0. Now you see it changes everything. So if you check in a browser, the 0 changes HSLA 0. It changes it to a different sort of color that nobody knows where it came from, right? But usually ignore that one and use the HSL. That's the use, because you create your own color with the HSL. Now let's move on to the one last color function that we will learn in this course, which is called the linear gradient function. And the linear gradient function brings some colors together from left to right of the page, or from top to down of the page, and mix them together as if it's going in a straight line, just like that, and just keep mixing. Let me show you an example. So right here in the background of the body, we can just write here linear gradient. You can see here's the functions: old linear gradient, WebKit linear gradient, repeating linear gradient, Morse repeating linear gradient, and WebKit repeating linear gradient. But we want linear gradient. Linear gradient right here, you can set it to right. That means the colors from left to right. So that's what you set to right, from the left of the page to the right of the page. The first one should have this color. Let's say you want to put this there, but to make it simpler for you who's learning, let's set here to red. Now the start of the page will be red, and let's set here to green, and the end of the page will be green, and it will be a combination of the red and green mixed together, something like that. So let's check in the browser to see what I'm talking about. So you see this inside your browser. From the left of the page to the right of the page, you see you have red and inside the middle, the red and the green mixed together. But from the far left, you can see the red occupies lots, and you can see it, and from the far right, you can see the green also occupies a lot of space out there. That's the same that you can do to many other kind of things in CSS. Let's say a border that you create, or any other kind of thing that you do. You can also, let's create a simple div right here. Let's say border. Inside that border, we have some list of items. Let's say we have an line of, let's say, books. Let's copy them and get back to the CSS. So inside the CSS, you can just get the border right here. And let's delete this background and save it, and change the color of the H1 to, let's say, blue. This is advanced CSS, so if you are getting confused because I'm moving too fast, then go back and learn the HTML and the CSS full course that I made to get the basics before you come to the advanced CSS. Because advanced CSS, you already know CSS, but I'm teaching you the advanced one. So inside this border, let's create a border with 1 pixel solid red, something like this. Now let's give it a width of, let's say, 300 pixels. And a height of, let's say, 20 VH, and let's give it a margin of 2 rem. Okay, good. Now inside the border list, let's remove the list style to be none. Now let's text align the items to the center. Let's give it a margin of 2 rem as well, to give them some separate, and let's change the height here to 40 VH. All right, now let's give it a font size of, let's say, 3 rem. It's too big, it cannot fit inside a box. Let's still extend the height, let's say 60 or 50. I think this works. Okay, so now let's also give it a font family of Calibri. Work well. All right, nice. Now here you can give it a color of, let's say, white. Yeah, white. So you can set it to RGB 255 255 as we learned. So now it's white, you can't see anything, right? Let's set the border color to also the border to none. You don't want to see any border. Right, now we want to give the border a background, and the background we need a linear. We want to use a linear gradient. So linear gradients, we are going to get to right. We want the top to be red and the down to be black. If I save it, you see what we get. The top from the right to the left red, and the far left is blue. So you see the amazing border that we create. All right, now we can also create we can add a hover for it. Not border, and we can add some hover for it. So if we add a hover, let's say we can set the background to linear gradient again, and change the specifications, let's say to left. Then here will be red and here will be black. So we have turned it, and let's set the transition to 0.5 seconds and the font family to Sego Print. Now let me save it. So if I hover the border, you see it changes. If I come, the red comes here and the black goes here. But if I take the mouse pointer, if I hover it on the border, you see the black comes here and the red goes here. And if I remove it, you see the red comes here and the black goes here. Let me zoom in for you to see it, how it really works. So you see, if I come here, the black goes. If I use the mouse pointer, to come over it, to hover, the black comes here and the red goes here. But if I remove it, it comes to its normal position, just like how I did. So this is a sample of the code if you didn't see it well. So this, we have built a simple project with a color styling and the color functions. So this is how the color works in a cascading style sheet for professionals. This is what you need to know, and you can also go and learn more. And I'll recommend a book for you at the end of the course, so make sure to stick with it. And after you learn, you can read that book too, and you increase your skills in web development and in CSS as well, and in advanced CSS as well. Right, this is qwesicodes on YouTube. Do not forget to subscribe, and also give me a thumbs up if you are loving the video, and comment down below. Literally comment down below if you didn't understand anything in this specific area, so that I can attend to you and I'll help you solve this problem that you're going through. So let's move on to the next chapter, which our next chapter is going to be cursor styling, how we style our cursor. So let's move on to that chapter. Alright, so with the cursor styling in cascading style sheet, this is the cheat sheet for the cursor styling, the cascading style sheet, where you set the kind of cursor that you want to display in your web page when there is an action being performed on the web page. As you can see here, the default one is the one I have the mouse pointer on it, which is the one everybody uses, and a crosshair, the hand, which indicates that the pointer is on a hyperlink. And also have move, which is when you are editing something. You have a text, wait, which is mean you are loading something, and many other kind of types of cursors out there. So this is the values and description. We have the non cursor type, auto, help, weight, move, and pointer. So as you have here, you can see that no cursor is rendered for the element. Auto is the default one. The browser sets a cursor, and the cursor indicates that the help is available. And wait, the cursor indicates that the program is busy. And move, the cursor indicates something is to be moved. And pointer, the cursor is a pointer and indicates a link. So as you can see, we have the pointer here. It indicates a link, and the default one is the one which is set by the browser. And we also have the help, which is down there, as you can see. So this is just a cheat sheet for the cursor styling. Let's look at how we do it inside the Visual Studio Code. Alright, so let's look at a practical example of how the cursor styling looks like in the cascading style sheet. So right here we have a simple HTML file here with the heading tag hello. Now inside the cascading style sheet, let's format the pointer using the body tag, because the body is the whole thing of the website. So just type in body. Now here we can set the cursor to whatever we like. So the cursor, now we can set it to any way that we like. It's a resize, EW resize. As we saw, you can change to anything that you like. A lot of things. The one that we just looked at in the image that we saw below, and the help and the other kind of stuffs. A lot and a lot and a lot. I have the image here, so let's go through. So this was the image, right? Now we can set it to default hand pointer. So let's set it to pointer. So if I set it to pointer, that means the element that I'm targeting is pointing on a specific thing. So let's create a simple project on the pointer cursor styling. So right here, let's create a button and name the button point. So let's save this and run this with a live server, as we always do in any code in HTML, for us to preview the website. So right here we have it hello. Now let's change it button. Let's change the cursor to pointer. That means it should change to pointer when we click on it, and because it's not a link, nothing changes. And as we said right here inside the image, you remember the pointer, the cursor is a pointer and indicates a specific link. So the cursor styling is not anything that is scary in CSS. It's just teaching you how the cursor works in each situation, how or what actually the cursor performs, what specific function performs, how it tends to be like in a specific situation. That's what the cursor styling is about. Alright, I hope you understand this. If you have any problems, drop it in the comments, and if no comments, let's carry on and move on to box shadows. Okay guys, now let's continue with the box shadows. So the box shadows is just like the human shadow on earth, where in the night or in the afternoon or in the morning you can see your shadow around you. Just like in technology, in web development, in CSS, we also have shadows around the box. But when you just create a box, there will be no shadow in the CSS unless you add shadows to it. So in this lesson, I'm going to learn about how to use box shadows in CSS. So right here you can see I've already created a div with a class of box shadow on it. So just do the same, and let's move on to the CSS. Let me change the title to box shadow to know. Alright, now let's get into our CSS, and inside the CSS, let's get the element by class name. This is what we want, the box shadow. So it is set to box shadow, box underscore shadow, which is a class. So we use dot to represent it. So box underscore shadow, just like this. So right here we are going to give it we're going to create a border for it, just like this, and we're going to give it a height of 30 ph. We're going to give it a width of 300 pixels. I think it's good. We are going to give it a background of purple. It's good. Now we are going to set the border to none, and we are going to add a WebKit for box shadow, which will be equal to 0 pixels, 0 pixels, 10 pixels, and -1 pixels. And you set the color to #44444. I think this is the color code exactly. All right, now let's move on to the next thing. The mouse. Just copy this, copy the first one and paste it here and paste it here again. Now let's edit. You change this to Moz. The Moz means Mozilla Firefox, and this is the original one for all browsers, and this is for Firefox alone. I'm going to teach you different browsers and how to set some specific styles for different browsers. And this is the real box shadow. So if you save it, you can see the box in the browser. There are some shadows around it. If you can actually see it well, the shadows appear very nice, very beautiful on the web page. As you can see, the black, as if it's black, as if it's some specific color around the shadow on the browser. So you can zoom in a little to see what I'm talking about. You can see there's some shadow around the box, just like this. So right here, let's create a real world example of this. So with this thing, we are going to do some small items here. Let's say form, some small thing with it, and with the form inside, we are going to also add a label of, oh, my battery is getting low, a label of name, and we're going to also add an input of text, just like this. Now let's copy this and save it. Let's copy this 3 times. We're going to do the same for password. So this is going to be password, and this is going to be password as well, and this is going to be email, and this is going to be email as well. Now let's save it. Oh, it's great. Now inside the box shadow, we have our form. Let's set the box shadow. Let's also create another div for the form. So it will be like the form, just like this, and bring the last div at the end of here. So that was going to be the form. So after this, let's do something like this, the form, and if I'm going to display it as inline flex, or inline, we're going to do that as block, sorry. So after we display it as block, I believe it should be displayed in block form. And let's edit the form input as well. Display block, just like this exactly. Now let's also edit the label of the box of the form. Sorry, we're going to give it a font family of Sego Prints. So we save it, and we are going to give it a color of white. All right, now let's edit the input a little. Let's change the border radius to 2 rem to make it look cool, and let's remove let's set the outline to none. Alright, so the outline becomes none, and very cool. Yeah. Now the input, let's also set the font family to calibre, which will look a little bit cooler. Alright, so right here is it. We also have some specific box shadow paragraph there. Let's bring it a little margin. Let's give it a margin of 2 rem. I think it's not good. It's not a good idea. Let's give it a font family of 2 rem. Font size, sorry. Font size of 2 rem, and let's make it 1.5. Okay, and let's give it a margin of 2 rem, and let's give it a font family of only one thing right here, right? And let's give it a color of white as well. this is the form. Let's extend the height to 60, 40, okay, just like this. Okay, so let's push them to the center instead of here. So margin, let's set the margin here. Let me first take this text align to center here first. Now this, let me take the margin here to auto, just like this, exactly. All right, now this is it. Here, this is pretty much some small project you can do where the box shadow. Now we've created a simple form here with the box shadow. You can see the forms around it. A simple project, so I can just say my name. I'll type in my name here, Alex Nyamten. Then I type in my email, qwesicodes at gmail.com. It's not that long, and let me type my password. Secret, you don't have to know the password. We didn't add any button. We could have added some button to make it much more nicer for you to use. So you can see it's very nice. It's not just any ordinary form, but you can use it as a form on your website. Okay, so let's move on to another sort of box shadow. So let's delete this. Let's delete everything here. You can write it down if you like. So me, I'm deleting everything because we have already finished learning it. All right, now let's learn about the drop shadow. Let's learn about the drop shadow. So the drop shadow is inner drop shadow. You are drawing it inner instead of the normal one that we just did, and it's very simple. Let's get started by creating a div and name it box shadow again, just like this. Come back to your style.css, and inside our style we're going to create an inner drop shadow. An inner drop shadow, we're going to first create what we did for it the last time. So we get the element by class name, and inside the box shadow we are going to give it the same WebKit as we did the other time. So WebKit box shadow, let's set it to 0 inset instead. Inset 0 pixels, 0 pixels, and 10 pixels, and 10 pixels, 0 pixels. Yeah, exactly. And let's give it a normal shadow. Exactly. Now let's copy this and paste it 3 times and change this to Mozilla. This will be Mozilla Firefox, and this to the normal box shadow. All right, now this is what you're going to do about it. So let's create a border for it and every other thing, so you can see what you've actually done. Now let's give it a border 1 pixel, solid black. Now let's set the width to 300 pixels and the height to 40 VH, just like this. So you can see it appears very nice because it's inner drop box, it's inner shadow. You are bringing the shadow inside it, not outside. That's why we are saying inset box shadow. This is inside of the box, not outside of the box. I can set the border to display now. Now just like this, you can see everything well, as if you have taken a hole inside the web page. So you can see this very nice, as if you have made a hole inside the web page. You have created a hole inside the web page. Very nice. So this is a very nice way of creating another box shadow using the inner drop shadow. All right, now let's learn about the multiple box shadow. The multiple box shadow, we are going to create multiple box shadows around one thing, and that shadow will be not be like a shadow, but will be a real color with the same way that just as we did. Let's get the element again, which is box shadow, just like this. And after that, we give it a margin of 100 pixels and a width of 100 pixels and a height of 100 pixels. This one we're going to make it normally. All right, so after this, you create a box shadow just like this and come down, because we're going to do a very big thing. So if it's 0 pixels, this is the first box shadow because I'm going to create multiple box shadow for it. So negative 52 pixels, negative 52 pixels, then make here 0 pixels and 0 pixels, and change, bring a color code here as I taught you about this thing. So for F65314 is the first color code. All right, now let's move on to the next one. This one is not going to be negative, it's going to be positive because we're on the right side. Now this is going to be, sorry, change this to comma to make it work, and this is going to be negative again to make it in its place, and it's going to be 0 pixels, and let's change this to 7cbb00. all right, another comma, and right here this is going to be negative because we are going to set it at a different place, and it's 52 pixels again, and 0 pixels and 0 pixels, and the number is going to be 00A1F1, just like that, and another comma, and this is going to be the last one, 52 pixels and 52 pixels again, and 0 pixels and 0 pixels, and we are going to add our last FFBB00, just like the first one, but it's a little bit identical. So let's save it, and as you can see, we have something like this out there. Let me start and create a step by step for you to see it well. First, we started with this. So you can see that was the only thing that came first. We started with this, then we came to the next one without any negative here, and was negative 52 pixels here, and 0 pixels here, and 0 pixels here, and the color code was 7cbb00, just like this, and we added this thing. All right, now we came to the next one, and here it was negative 52 pixels, and then we went to 52 pixels and 0 pixels, 0 pixels again, and the color code was 00A1F1, just like this. Now you can see it has created a downside because the first one was negative, that means we push it to the left, and the next one was positive, so it was to be at the same place, and then also 0 pixels and 0 pixels, so it cannot come up, just like that. And now we added our last one, which was 52 pixels positively, because that was the last one, and the right side is positive and the left side is negative, so the color we used was FFBB00, just like this. Okay, so this is how we did it. This is Microsoft's logo actually. Now we can create a border for our div, just like this, solid, let's say blue. Now you can see the blue is inside. Now we can set the background to, let's say, linear gradient, as we learned the other time, to right. Then I'm going to use this first, hash F65314. Then I'm going to use 7cbb00, and I'm going to use 00A1F1, and this one is going to be FFBB00, and let's save it, and you can see it appears very nicely. And let's remove the border, none. Let's set the border to none. Now there you have it. This is how we create box shadows in cascading style sheet. So we've learned about adding normal box shadows, we've learned about the inner drop shadow, and we've learned about the multiple box shadows, and there's also another one that we didn't learn about, which was the after box shadow. So the after box shadow is very simple. Let me just make it quick for you. Box shadow will be something like this, and you just create your normal stuffs. The web kit is the same thing, the web kit, and you add some box shadow here, web kit box shadow, and you set it to 0 pixels, 0 pixels, 8 pixels, and 2 pixels with the same color code that we used the other time. Right, so copy this and paste it 3 times, and change this to the Mozilla Firefox version, and change this to the box shadow itself. Now save it. So it's outer. You can see there's an outer box shadow. So you can just create a border 1 pixels, solid black. Let's add a width of 300 pixels and a height of 40 vh, just like this. And you can see it's outer of the box, not inner of the box. So we talked about the outer of the box and the inner of the box, because it's in the inner, because we made it outside, not inside of the box. All right, because we brought the code outside here, and you can even just add after to make it look normal, but right here we are just using the normal one. If you first created the box shadow, you can only bring these height and the width, and you create another box shadow right here, just like this, and bring after, and bring these out there, these here, and then it can be very simple, just like this. But right, we decided to choose to use the old one because this doesn't work. So pretty much this is how we create a outer box or outer drop shadow, not the inner drop shadow. So we've learned about the inner drop shadow and the outer drop shadow. This is how the outer drop shadow works. You take it outside, you take the shadow outside of the box, so make it look very nice. All right, okay, so if we set these things to insert, it will bring it inside. All right, it will bring it inside of it. All right, you can see, but if we remove those insert from there, it will bring it outside. All right, thank you. This is pretty much everything you need to know about box shadow. Let's move on to the next lesson. If you don't understand anything, put in the comment. This is qwesicodes. Subscribe if you're enjoying the course. Let's move on. What's going on, guys? In this lesson, I'm going to talk about multiple columns as in this course. All right, multiple columns. In this session in CSS, you divide a couple of text or elements on the website into columns in the web page. For example, we can have a div here and name it content, and inside the div we can create a paragraph text, and you can also have an h1 text here, heading tag 1. You can also have a list tag here, like now. Here we are going to give each a div. So here this is going to be the paragraph, this is going to be for the paragraph, and this is going to be for the heading tag, and this, the last one, which is a list tag, is going to be for the list tag. All right, so now we have this right here. We're going to input many type of forms. So just type LOREM, just like this, and come here and copy it, Ctrl+C, and paste it several times. Okay, I think this is okay. Let's just use. All right, now we have this. Let's come to the heading tag, and inside the heading tag, let's say qwesicodes, just like this. We can also have another one, YouTube. We can also add Facebook, and we can have Instagram, and we can also have Twitter right here, or X as this is called. Now let's come to the list. Inside the list you can have, well, first, this is our first list. Let's name this about us, more inquiry, and let's also add another one. It's going to be like location, and the last one is going to be developer, something like this. All right, now we have done this, we are going to use the multiple columns to divide it into many parts. As you see right now, they are all in line just like this, but we want to group them into different columns on the web page. So let's head into our CSS, and the main div is content, and all of these, the one I have highlighted is under content. So if you check in, all I've highlighted is under the content. So the content is what we're going to style. Alright, so we come here, the content, we get the element by class name, and inside here we first do it for the WebKit column, and we have column count, that is the amount of columns I want to create. And this note, this is for Chrome, Safari, and Opera Mini. Alright, so the column count, we want to divide it into 3 because it's already 3 out there. We want to divide it into 3 right now. Now let's move on to the next column. This is the Mozilla Firefox column. So this is going to be for the Mozilla Firefox 3. So we note this is for the Mozilla Firefox. Alright, now we have the normal column count as well. Normal column count 3. Alright, so this is the column count that we want to divide inside our web page, just like that. Now let's connect it with the CSS right here. Let's connect the CSS to the HTML. If you haven't done it, make sure you do it before we continue. So we have connected the start of CSS. Now you can see it divides. If you check on the web page right now, it divides. We have this here, and the qwesicodes YouTube, Facebook is also on its column, and Instagram, Twitter, it's also on its column. And about us and the inquiry is also on its column. So you have divided into 3, and actually the div that was an it was 4. I think we have the paragraph, the heading, and the list. So it was 3. So 1, 2, 3. It was 3 and 8. So we can also divide inside to make it 4. Let's see what's going to actually happen to let the Instagram get on it too. Something like this. Alright, so you can see we are divided into 4 parts, and this will be coming here, so we just creating more. Already, if you divide it into 2, you will see the columns for all the elements under that specific thing will be just divided into 2, just like this. So on some specific website, you see that we have the art to be showing here, and you'll be reading the actual block on this side. Yeah, you'll be reading the actual block on this side, and the art and the other stuff will be at this side. Let me give you another real world example of how it looks like. Alright, so delete everything under the content, and let's do another example. Alright, so another content, again, we can just create a paragraph and add lorem, or let's use paragraph. Let's use H3 and format the style. You format it later, so let's just put lorem and copy this and paste it a lot of times. Yeah, like it's a lot of times now. You like. Alright, now let's is H3. Now let's change the H3 into dot content H3. So this is how we get it under the class. And now let's change the font family to something nice, and let's change the font weight. Let's lower it a little as if it's so deep. Alright, now this is weight. Alright, so this is what you have on our page, and we have divided it into 2 different parts. As you can see, if this wasn't out there, if I was to delete this thing and just run like this, you see that it will not be divided. It will just like that. As you can see, it's just there, right? But if I add the count to it, alright, right here I'll not add the WebKit for the Firefox and the Chrome. I'll just go straight to it. So column count, I want to make it 3. So you can see we are divided into 3 sections. Now we have here and here and here. So if we check for the mobile responsiveness, I'm going to teach you more about the media query in this later in this course. Alright, so you can see it's divided into. So this is how it will display on the phone, and this is iPhone XR. So responsive, this is how it will display on the phone if it's true. So you see, so it will give the user more interactive way of viewing elements on the website that you have created. So this is pretty much everything you need to know about the multiple columns in cascading style sheet and how to use multiple columns in cascading style sheet. Now let's move on to Flexbox. If you have any questions, drop it in the comment. If no questions, let's carry on. and make sure to subscribe to my channel if you are loving the course. Support us grow. This is qwesicodes. Let's move on. Okay guys, in this video I'm going to talk about Flexbox in cascading style sheets, and it's going to be a little deeper. The Flexbox is about laying out a sort of layout in cascading style sheet that we use in a modern day web development. Now in the Flexbox, we're able to set some boxes that we create using some divs and divisions and sections, and align them along the website where we can keep some sort of elements, and also helps in mobile responsiveness as well. Let's try an example here on the Flexbox. So right here we already have this Flexbox right here. As you can see, this is a web page that I'm going to use for the web Flexbox. So I've already written my first code right here, which is a heading tag with a style of Sego script and a value of Flexbox. Now in this HTML, let's create a division and name it aligner. Inside the aligner, we create the align. So we are going to the align, that is what we are actually going to align. To align, we are going to name this one, and we copy this and duplicate it 3 times, and we are going to name this 2 and name this 3. All right, so we are set to the align. Let's check in our browser, and you can see we have 1 2 3 right there. Let's head back to our code and head to CSS. We're going to write the CSS code right here. So inside, let's set the body. Let's give it a background of hash 44444 or gray. Let's give it a background of gray, yeah, or Gainsborough. I think this is much better. As you can see, this is much better. Okay, now let's get the aligner by class name. That means you are selecting this, the main thing that is covering the whole div that we've created, the aligner. Now the aligner, we're going to set the display to flex. We are going to set the flex direction to column, and I'm going to set the align items to center, and justify content to also center as well. All right, so let's save this and preview it in the browser and see what's going to happen. Now you can see it's in a column form 1 2 3. If we change it to row, the flex direction to row, we save this and we preview it in the browser. You can see 1 2 3 turns to the row form. It's no more in a column form. If we turn it to column, you can see it comes back to the let me save it and preview it again. And you can see it come back to a different layout, 1 2 3 from the top to the down. But if you set it to row, it goes from the left to the right without going from top to down. Now let's create some border for it, for the align. And the aligns, they are the values that is containing the 1 2 3. So for the align, we are going to give it a border 1 pixel solid black. We're not going to show the border, so border none. Let's set the width of the border to 400 pixels and the height to 30 VH. Now this works well. Let's give it a background of hash 44444. Much better. All right, now let's preview it in the browser and see how it looks like. So we have this here with everything showing out. All right, so this is the align that we have created for now, and with the width and with the height and everything. This is containing all the information that let's save this and check. All right, now this is it. Now we are going to the border none. Let's change the width. I think the width is so big, so 300, and the height to 20. I think it's much better. All right, for us to see well. So let's bring in the width to 250. Okay, I think this works well. And inside the align, let's give it a margin of 2 rem. Now we separate a little. All right, now this is the Flexbox that we have right now. So inside the align, we have a color. Let's do the text align of center. Font size of font size of 3 rem and a color of white. and a font family of Arial, any random font family. All right, so we have this 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's change the margin of it to, let's say, we just entered it into, we cannot change the margin unless we use some sort of tags in HTML so that we can change the margin of the 1, 2, 3. But right here we just want to indicate that this is what you're doing. So this one, this 2, this 3, border 1, border 2, and border 3. All right, so right here you can see that it is properly aligned in the same way that we said it should be. All right, let's set the border radius to rem to make it look much more nice. All right, okay, so let's come back to your aligner. In the aligner you can see we have display, flex, and column. You can change this to row. If you change this to row, the flex direction to row, and preview, you can see it turns into a row form, no more column form. And if we change this text align items from center to the left and justify content to the left as well, and we save this, you can see it comes to the left. And if we set it to the right, save it, you can see it goes to the right. And let's change it back to column like this. All right, so this is how the Flexbox actually works in cascading style sheet. Now let's try to bring something out of it, a practical example for you to understand how the Flexbox can actually be used. All right, so we can create a simple media query, and the media query, let's say if it comes on phone, it should turn column, but if it comes on the mobile, if it comes on the desktop, it should turn something like that. You might not understand it, so later we are going to do more about the mobile responsiveness in the media queries using cascading style sheet on how to make your website just look responsive on the mobile phone, on the tablet, and on the desktop, and on your laptop as well. So this is pretty much everything you need to know about Flexbox right now. So you can use to create elements, you can style, you can use to do many other things, not just create boxes. So the boxes can contain elements for you to style on the web page. So let's say that 1 can be where your form will be, and the 2 can be terms and agreement, and the 3 area can be something else, let's say an advertisement. Right, so after you align it and you change the colors and everything, and you input the real element, and it will be firmly and nicely in place on a web page and help you look professional, make your website look professional as well. All right, you can also use multiple columns, but multiple columns is something which just looks like Flexbox, but it's not Flexbox. All right, this is everything you need to know about the Flexbox right now. As time goes on, I'm going to do more videos about it, but this course, this is what you need as a professional cascading style sheet developer. Moving on to JavaScript. And JavaScript is a programming language, so that's not what you're going to focus on right now. You're focusing on the cascading style sheet. All right, so if you have any questions, please drop it in the comments. And if no questions, let's carry on. Guys, now in this episode of this, or lesson in this advanced CSS course, we're going to talk about grids and how the grids works in the cascading style sheet. Grid layouts is a new and powerful CSS system that allows to divide a web page in content into rows and columns in a very easy way. We are going to try it out with a simple example right here. Grids is very easy and is similar to Flexbox, the one that we just did the previous lesson, which was Flexbox. So you can revisit the Flexbox and practice more and come to the grids, and it will be very easy for you. So first, let's create a section right here. And inside the section, let's give a class of container. So this is going to contain all the grids inside. And inside, we create another div, and we give it a class of item. And item is going to be item 1. Let's enter 1 inside this. Copy this and paste it 4 times, and change it 2, 3, 4. Change it to 2, 3, 4, just like this. All right. So if you have this, and if you save it and we check in our browser, you can see we have only 1, 2, 3, 4 out there. You can see that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, just like this. All right. Now let's move on to our CSS and start styling them. So right here in the CSS, let's get the element by class name, which was the container, and it means we are only styling the whole items inside the section. So with the section, give it a class of container, so that means you are styling everything under the section. Now in this cascading style sheets, under the container which we got the element by class name, let's give it a display of grid to show the browser out, or to show to tell HTML that we are displaying a grid here. So we are telling CSS we are displaying a grid and at the same time HTML, because we are styling the HTML. So both of them are working together. Now as we set it to grid, change the grid column. Now the grid columns, we set it to 50 pixels, 50 pixels, and 50 pixels, just like this, 3. And now we also have grid rows. As I said, grids allows you to divide the web page into rows and columns very easy. So we have grid rows and grid columns. Now the grid rows, we also set it to 50 pixels, only 2. Just like this. Alright, nice. So once you have this, you are now come to style the rest of the elements under the container to get it. As you can see in the browser, there is nothing new here. It's still 1, 2, 3 right now. So let's get the element by class name again and get the item. So we are going to style item 1 first, and you can see this is the item 1, the first one here, the one I have highlighted. That's the one we're going to style right now with a grid. Now right here we will give it a grid column of 1 and a grid row of 1, just like this. Now let's copy this and paste it 3 times. One, 2, 3. All right, because we have 4 items out there, we gave each a class name of item 1, item 2, and item 3. So let's name it just like that, as we learned it from the HTML that we created some divs containing these items with a class name of item 1, item 2, item 3, and item 4. Now inside we have done everything just like that. Now let's add some styles to it by creating a border for it. Give it the border solid 10 pixels, solid crimson. Let's give it a width of, let's say, 100 pixels. Let's give it a height of 10 VH. I think it's good. And let's give it a color of white. Okay, now let's give it a background of blue, something like this. Now let's copy this style right here and paste it in every single item. So right now I paste it inside the item 2, I paste the one inside the item 3, and I paste the last time inside the item 4, just like that. So after you've done that, you save it and you check in the browser, and you can see we have only 4 out there, the rest are gone. So where are they? I'm going to learn more about it right now. So right here, if I come to the item 1 and I set the row to 3, I want it to give 3 rows for the item 1 alone, and it's going to give us 2. You see, it enlarges it, it adds more to it. Let's say if I change the row to 2, I save it, it still remains 2. If I change the column to, let's say, 3 and the row to 0, if I save this, you can see it's create a column form, all right, for the grid. Now the 2 grids are in column form. Each of the grids have two boxes, just like this. All right, so right here, let's give all the grid row 0, 0 in any part of the container. So in all the items, let's give the grid row 0, 0, just like this, and let's give it the grid column. Let's start from here. 2. The first item 1 should be 2, and this should be 3. The grid column item 2 and item 3 should be 4, and the item 4 should be 5. Let's save this and check in the browser, and as you can see, it is aligned perfectly, just like how we wanted it. Now we can input some element out there. We can use it to divide the page into several grids, rows and columns, and add many elements there to make our website look much more professional. All right, now let's do the same for the column as well. Change this to 0 and make this 5. Come to the next item, page 3, change this to 0 and make this 4. Go to the next item, change the column to 0 and change the grid to row to 3, just like that. And the last one, change the column to 0 and the row to 2. And let's save it, and you can see it displays in a row form by combining together. Alright, so the grid is something similar to Flexbox, but it lets us divide it into rows and columns at the same time. But the Flexbox, it only allows you if you want to put it on row or column. But with the Flexbox, it sets row and column at the same time. So you can see we had grid columns and grid rows. So right here in this lesson, the key concept is to know is grid rows and grid columns and displaying grids. I can change this to 150 pixels, 150 and 150 for the grid columns, and I can change this to 250 for the grid rows. Alright, so if I give 250 for the grid rows and I check in, the grid rows are going to change. Right now we have set all of them to the grid rows, but if I change it back to the grid columns, everything's also going to change just like that. Alright, let's bring this to 150 as well and preview it. Alright, so this is nice. Now this is pretty much everything you know about the grids. Now let's move on to our next lesson, which are going to talk about transitions in cascading style sheets. I'll see you there. Okay guys, so as I said, in this lesson we are going to talk about transitions in cascading style sheet for the advanced people. Alright, so the transitions allows you to hover over an element in a slow way and to add different effects to element when as a result of mouse hovering over it or clicking on it. That is how the transition works. To understand this, we need to try an example right now. So let's try an example right here where we just have, let's say, an H1 and we'll give it a value of hello, and inside the CSS let's get the element by its role name and give it a color of, let's say, red. Now let's give a hover for it, and a hover we're going to give it, let's say, a transition of 0.4 seconds and a color of green, which means going to take 0.4 seconds before the green will 100% show. So if we check in a browser, let's run this first before we check it in a browser. Now it shows you see it takes a little long time before it comes. It's not like normally, but if I change this, let's say 10 seconds, it will take 0.10 seconds before it shows. So you can see there are many. It can take even if I make 10 seconds itself, that should take 10 meters. Alright, 10 ms. Let's preview it in a browser. You can see it will take just a couple of seconds to load, but if we just make it 10 seconds like this, that means you want the transition to last for 10 seconds before it shows. So you see it's going to take 10 seconds before it will turn to green. Now if I remove the pointer from it, you can see it changes back to red as fast as possible. Alright, same applies to many other elements such as buttons and other things. And we have something called transition property and transition duration. Alright, okay, so now let's set some height, let's say 100 pixels for this, and width to be 100 pixels as well, and let's give it a border, let's say 1 pixels solid crimson, just like that. And let's give it a transition property. The transition property, let's say when the mouse hover over it, it's going to change. Let's say it's going to have the border is going to come from vertically and horizontally. It's going to evolve from vertically to horizontally. It specifies the CSS properties. The transition effect is for in case the div will expand both horizontally and vertically when hovered. That's how it looks. Alright, so let's say we want it to hover both height horizontally and vertically, like physics vertical component or horizontal component, just like that. Alright, now let's come for transition duration. Transition duration, this is going to be for the height first and the width first. So the height will just take 1 second. Let's make the height 10 seconds, and let's make the width 20 seconds. Alright, now let's save this and come to the transition timing function. And the transition timing function specifies the speed curve of the transition effect. A linear value indicates the transition will have the same speed from start to finish. So we want it to be linear, just as normally. And let's give it a transition delay. so you should delay about, let's say, 2 seconds, 1 second, and let's say 0.5 seconds for the boot height and width before it comes out. Now inside the H1 hover, which we have, let's remove this transition from there and add some width to it. Use 200 pixels, and let's add some height, 200 pixels, and let's save this. And if we save this and we check in the browser and we try to run it, as you can see, we have a border around it already. But if we hover on it, you see the border will come in a very smooth way. Alright, you see how it's expanding slowly. It's taking a lot of time to expand. Now it's expanding in both width and height. As you can see, it's becoming bigger and bigger as you can see the width is also coming step by step, and we'll be showing more elements, which is already even. Let's say if some elements are even hidden, now you can use that with straight. By if I remove mine, you see it also comes slowly, just like this, just like that. Cool. You see, if I bring them out, will be coming up. If I remove the mouse, it will be going inside. Now I've created a sort of animation out here, which really helps. Okay, so we can just remove the width, the width for the height to only work. Let's see. Now you see how it's going. The width only height. It will just going just like this, very nicely. Like this is the transition longhand, the longhand transition. All right. So the longhand transition is the most used transition. Above all, the normal transitions are also out there, but the normal transitions are mostly used. Let's look at the normal transitions. That one, we don't need any transition delay and transition timing function and transition duration and transition property, as I said it. So let's delete all these stuffs from there. Delete from the transition delay to the border right there, for which we left with this thing. And I'll give it a background color. I'll give a background color of, let's see, aqua, just like this. And let's transition the background, let's say background, and give it a time. It should take a couple of, let's say, 4 seconds. Yeah, 4 seconds. Now we have set it to background right here. Now let's come to the hover and change the background to let's say aqua, just like that. Green, let's change it to green when the mouse over on it. Now right here, if I tap on it, you can see how it comes. It starts from a hover and it comes in a very nice way. If you move it, it just disappears very smoothly. And this cannot really be done for, it can be done for buttons and many other kind of elements on the page. Let's do a simple thing here with, let's say, body. You can give it a background of red and transition of background. Let's change it to 1 second. Let's change it to, let's say, 3 seconds. So yeah, 3 seconds is great. And let's give it a body the hover of, let's give it a background of, let's say, blue. The Flexbox blue. Let's look for the Flexbox. I've already taught you how the color thing work, how the color code and the other highest value element works. So we need to know how to do it, right? So if I save this and I save it and preview it inside the web browser, you see the body changes. But if I remove my hand from the body, it doesn't come normally, because this is the body and that's the only thing, because it only happens once. If I refresh it, it will come normally. But if you tap on it, it changes to a different color, as I've already said. So if this is what you want the background to be when we click on it, all right. So you can change it to, let's say, 1 second. And if we tap on it, you need to see a change when we tap on it, all right. But we can just do something like this: remove the transition from here and bring it down here. Let's see, let's change the transition to 0.3 seconds, just like this. Now if you come here, you can really change the transition to 0.3 seconds using the body tag. It's just a simple project that I was trying to do. You can do it to any element, for input to any other kind of element out there. You can use this transition on it, all right. So in this video, we've learned about transitions and how it works, mostly we have learned the longhand and normal transitions that are used on basic elements. All elements in HTML, transition can be added to it to make your website feel more animated. Now in our next lesson, we are going to learn about 3D transforms and animations. Alright, so the 3D transforms and animation will give us how we animate things actually, how we can turn things around, we can make things actually look cool on our website. Alright, let's move on to the next lesson, which is the 3D transform. Make sure to like the video if you understand the course and enjoying it, and comment down below and help the qwesicodes family grow as I continue to make more videos for you when it comes to web development and make you ace your skills in web development. Thank you if you are watching. If you have watched this course to this far, thank you. Let's move on. Okay guys, now let's talk about 3D transforming the advanced cascading style sheet. Now the 3D transform allows you to rotate items, divs, divisions, and sections that you create on your website, on your web page with the HTML. With a basic example, let's start with the transform origin. By creating a basic example, let's create a div and name it transform origin 1 and transform origin 2. So right here we call this transform origin 1. We copy this and paste it here, then we call this transform origin 2, just like that. Now let's come into our CSS, and inside our CSS we are going to edit the transform by create another div to cover the whole thing. So let's just create another transform here. Now we are going to use this transform to cover the whole thing because we are going to add some sort of elements to the whole div inside the cascading style sheet. So inside the cascading style sheet, let's get the transform by its class name, and let's give it a height of 100 pixels and a width of 200 pixels, background of teal, which is very good, and let's display it as inline block. Now the transition, this is where we are actually going to rotate it. So transition, let's transform it for, let's say, 2 seconds. Now let's come down and get the inside classes, the transform origin 1 and the transform origin 2. Transform origin 1, let me copy this and paste it here. Now transform origin 2, that's great, exactly. Now inside it we just give transform origin, so transform origin 0 0, just like that. And this one, let's give it a transform origin of 100% and 0. And the last one, we give it a transform hover. As the mouse hovers the item, what should happen? Just transform by rotating it to, let's say, 36 degrees, or let's say 45 degrees, or 90 degrees. 90 degrees is normal, so 45 degrees, 45 DEG. Now if I save this and I check in the browser, you can see we have a box there with a color teal for the background. Now let's just put this on, let's just put our mouse pointer on it, and you can see it changes 45 degrees. It just, you see, it took 40, it rotates at an angle of 45 degrees. If I remove the mouse pointer from it, it will come back to its normal state. We can align these, let's give a text align of center and margin of 2 rem, and see what will happen. Because here's the margin, let me just make it auto, because you cannot just center it here. So delete the text align, forgot is and bring the auto in front of the 2 rem and delete the auto after the 2 rem. Let's say this, and I think this is how it is. Okay, so now it is in a perfect shape that you can see how it actually rotates. Let's increase the margin more to see how the thing actually looks like. Now here is it. I want you to see it on how it rotates on the page. When we click on now, you can see it is full. Now let's see this how it turns at an angle of 45 degrees. And if I change the angle to any sort of angle, that's how it changes to. If I change it to 90 degrees, it will just rotate 90 degrees. 90 degrees is the default one out there. Let's rotate this 90 degrees. It will rotate to 90 degrees. Now you see 90 degrees exactly. But if I remove it, it will come back. I can also change it to, let's say, 180 degrees. It will rotate 180 degrees and come back to normal state. You see, I can rotate it to 235 degrees and it will rotate it to 235 degrees exactly. So if it was a convection sign, here would have been east of north at 235 degrees. This is how it would have ended. This would have been 235 degrees east of north. Yes, if it was a conventional sign. So if you've learned conventional signs in physics, you will know that that's how it looks like. Alright, so let's learn about a real 3D transform after getting the basics of how the transform actually looks like. With that, let's just create a simple thing, like a simple needle, for us to understand how the thing actually works. So let's just create a div and coil needle. That's all you need. Let's delete all of this, and instead of style, you're going to get a needle by class name, and give it a margin of 100 pixels and width of 150 pixels and a height of 150 pixels. Now you're going to give it a transform element to transform it by rotating the y-axis and the x-axis. So rotate the y-axis and the angle inside here. Just remove the the string element here, and you put in a, so I'm going to transform to 85 degrees. Now let's rotate x or z. Let's rotate the z angle and make this 45 degrees. All right, now we are done. Now we are left with the presentational one, which is the background. Let's make the background teal as normal. There's my favorite color in CSS. Now let's give it a box shadow of insert, which I've already taught you how the box shadow looks like. So insert, we're going to give it 6 pixels and another 6 pixels, 22 pixels and 8 pixels with a color of #272727. All right, with this, if we save it and check in the browser, you can see it has created in another way. We have transformed it. Now let's add a transition to give it a hover by copying this whole thing right here and closing in the rotate y-axis to, let's say, 180 degrees. That's like this. So that means the y-axis will rotate 180 degrees on the screen. So if I save this, I check in the browser and I put my mouse pointer on it, I hover, it will change, you can see, to 185 degrees on the y-axis. It opens it, close, opens it, close. I can give it a transition duration, let's say 3 seconds. I can actually give it the actual transition as 0.5 seconds as well. If I save this and I check, see, it will take some time before it comes. If I increase the time, it also increases 0.9 seconds. I also give it a width, let's say, off. The width is already here, so let's go here and give it 250 pixels and the height to be 250 pixels. Let me save this. Now let's save this and check in a browser, and as you can see, it turns in a very beautiful way, just like this. Very, very nice, very, very cool. So this is how it works. If you preview it, you would if you inspect this thing and we check downsides of the style sheet, you will see that there's the actual pattern. Let's remove the responsiveness from there for you to see it well. You have the margin to be 100 there, there's the border around it, and there's the padding, and the actual thing is 50-50. So this is the actual margin, the whole thing around it, and this is the only element that we have on the cascading style sheet. All right, so this is how the 3D transform works in the cascading style sheets. Now you can use it in your day-to-day web development activities to make you look professional. All right, this is qwesicodes on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe if you are loving the course, and let's move on to the next thing. Okay guys, so in this lesson we are going to talk about media queries. The media queries is simply how you style your website based on devices screen aspect ratio, how your website should look like on mobile phone, on a tablet, on a TV, and on a personal computer, normal monitor, on a laptop. We use the media query for it. The media query is very important, and everyone needs to know it. Any web developer needs to know it, because your website have to be mobile responsive. Your website has to be seen well arranged when it comes to mobile, when it comes to tablets, when it comes to desktop computers. Your website should be visible and normally not things spread around, but mostly mobile responsiveness. Your website should be responsive on your mobile phone as well, not just on your computer. All right, in this video, that's what you're going to learn about the media queries and the many types of media query that we have. All right, so with the intro to it, let's just start with an example. Let's create an each one here and give you a name of media. Let's give you a class of header. All right, so let's save this and head to our CSS, and let's give the header a color of red. Now let's save it and check in a browser. Let's reload it. I think, yeah, all right. So right here, media shows. If you left click on an empty space on your website, you see this. Click on inspect. Now you see a new side menu comes from the left of the screen. From the left of the console, you can see the laptop and the mobile phone out there with the toggle device toolbar. You can click Ctrl plus Shift plus M, as you can see on the screen. Ctrl plus Shift plus M. So if you click on Ctrl plus Shift plus M, it would show where the responsiveness styles is, the responsiveness aspect ratio is. Or you can just click on it straight away, it will come. Just like this, you can click on it and it shows, or Ctrl plus Shift plus M, then you get this. Right now here it shows us that this is how our website appears on a normal mobile phone. Now here you see we have iPhone SE. This is how website will look like on iPhone SE. This is how website will look like on iPhone 12 Pro. This is how our website will look like on Galaxy Fold. This is how our website will look like on Galaxy A51. There are many other, and you can also customize your own. You can edit it by getting device aspect ratios, by searching for the specific device and how you want it to look like. But this will take so long, so just use the normal responsive thing, which is the responsive, so that it will make you aware that this is how your website will display on a mobile phone, just like this. All right, so without further ado, now we know how to, let's just set it to iPhone SE, just like this. All right, so this is how it appears on our mobile phone. Now I'm going to learn about how we can edit it on our mobile part, not just normally. You can see right here, if I change the color to green and I save it, you can see change to green, right? But what if I make the text font size, let's see, 25 rem? It's going to be so big. So this is how it's going to look like on your mobile phone, right? It's not going to be responsive like this, so big. But if you come on a desktop, it's responsive. You can see it normally on a desktop, but when it goes to the mobile responsiveness area, you see it's messed up. All right, even if it is shown on a tablet, Galaxy iPad Air, you see even iPad Air doesn't even see well. Media. All right, now let's learn how we can make this responsive. Right here, this is the normal screen for the laptop right now. Now we are going to create something which is called media query, and we use the @media to declare that we want to style that specific area. And this is how we declare it, by saying @media screen, just like this. And the @media screen, this means that you are styling for the screen alone. And max width would be anything we want, and min width, max length should be something that like how we want or where we want that style to occur if the size of the screen changes. There are many types. We have all screen, it's like the media screen. We have the @media screen. You see, we already have the screen. We also have all. The all stands for to apply to all devices, and the default computers is screen. That means for normal computers. And print is for printers. Print is for printers. Handheld is for handheld mobile phones. That's what we work on. And we also have speech systems, which is the AUAL, just like this, AURAL. And we also have TV, so how it will show on the TV. And we also have TTY, devices with fixed patch character grids. But for now, let's focus on the mobile phone and the tablets. Alright, so the mobile phone, without writing some code like @media screen, something like this, and creating massive code to make you uncomfortable, just like this, and then you come here, you write some weird things right here, like min width, to set a width for the screen that you want. Let's say 1200 pixels. Let's say this is what you want to edit. Then come again, then we set for, and max width should be, let's say 1600. All right. Before you can, and the WebKit, you can also add a WebKit, and the WebKit can be WebKit min device, just like that. Pixel ratio, you can set it to 1 as default. All right. So after this, now we put our styles here. This is where we write the actual code. Let me fix this with. All right. So that's it. Now we can add our styles here. This is where we can write the real code of how we want the website to be, like when it that specific area, or on for non-retina screens. But do not be confused right now. Let's just head for the normal one by using @media, just like this. Max width. Now right here, it is telling us that when a website like this, the max width is 365 by 667. All right. So it's telling us if the width is maybe something like this, we should set the width to the place that you want to style. So let's say you want the width to occur at 400 pixels. So when the width is 400 pixels, this style should work. All right. So let's go back to our. All right. So now when it's at 400 pixels, that style is going to work. So now we get the header again inside this code. And this is for the mobile right now. So the width, when the width of the device is less than 400 pixels, this or is less or equal to 400 pixels, this style will work for it. So now we change the font size to 2rem, and we change the color to green. No, teal. Let's save it. Let's check in our mobile area to see how it looks like. So right now you can see it comes normally on the mobile, right? You can see right now it's normal on the mobile. Right now it's very normal on the mobile. iPhone 12 is sounds, iPhone 14 is how it looks like. iPhone responsive, this is how the responsive looks like. An iPad mini, it comes normally. It's no more like it was displaying at first. At first it was displaying the way nobody liked. If I remove this from there right now, if I remove this, you will see it would come back to its normal state, right? You can see, but right now we have styled it for the specific way that we want. So now you can change the color to green. Sorry, let's get the header first. the header. Let's change the color to teal, font size to 2rem, the font family let's set it to Sego Prints. All right, now let's start the body as well. The body, let's give it a background of blue, something like this. Okay, let's add a linear gradient for it to right. Let's set some colors, teal and green, and let's bring white inside. I think it's okay. All right, let's add a body hover for it. This is for the mobile side. This is not for this, for any device with a width less or equal to 400 pixels. So if the width of the device is less than this style will occur to that specific device, and you can do it for many devices. So you can create another one. See, if the width is like this, if the width is like this, you can just do many things with it. All right, so the background hover, I'm going to give it a background of pink, just like this. All right, pink. Now let's come back to our, so you can see this occurs only for the mobile, but if I quit it, you can see this is how the normal website actually looks. This is for the desktop, and if I come to where the mobile is, this is for the mobile. This is for any device with a width less than or equal to 400 pixels. As I have set it here, that the max width should be 400 pixels. The max width of the device should be 400 pixels. So if the max width of the device is less than 400 pixels, then it will happen for that device. If you can also create another one that if the max width is less or equal to 500 pixels, if the max width is equal to less or equal to 700 pixels, this will happen. And if the max width is normal, then the normal style here would happen. All right, so I've saved this. Now check right here. Let me try to click on it, and you can see it will change. That's the hover that we are trying to do. So if you see, if I click on it, the hover comes right now. If I click back, it changes. If I click on this, the hover comes. If I click on it, if I click on the media, the hover comes. Just keep changing, just like this. All right, just keep changing. See, all right, now I can also add specific. I can change. I can take the header, text align to the center, and it will go to the center here as well. But I can also change it at a page. All right, you can see here it also goes to the center, right? But on the mobile part, on the part which is less than 400 pixels or equal to 400 pixels, it's also going to center. But you can change that. You can text align this to end. All right, so if I go and check, you can see this one is still in the center, but if I go and check what I'm working on, this is the page source. Sorry about that. Now if we check our mobile, you can see our own is on the end of the page. So this is how the website will display when on a phone, and this is where the media will be. This is where the written thing will be when on a phone. But if someone on the desktop is accessing your website, this is how the website will be. And if someone accessing your website from the mobile phone, this is how the website will be. And you can try to understand this by setting different dimensions for your project, for many devices that you want this to work for. All right, now let me show you the many ways that you can use it. As I've already told you, these are the types. Let me write the types here. Let's say at media screen, all right, we have n mean width to be, let's say 400 pixels, and max width to be 600 pixels, and we add let's say resolution, mean resolution to, don't worry if you find it hard to understand this, but you'll know more after this, after I do many videos about these stuffs. All right, so right here I'm going to show you now. This screen is for normal computers, but you can also decide to use this if you want. But this is much more important because you can set it for almost all devices with this. Right, so this is for the normal desktop. If I change the screen here to something else, to all, it means it's for all devices. If I change it to projection, that means it's for presentation for, let's say if it's projected, how it should be like using a projector. If it's projected, if I set it to TV, this way you are creating a style here for the TV. All right, and you have to change some width and some height here to make it be aligned with the TV. But if I change it to, let's say, Braille, something like this. Right, if I change it to Braille, they are Braille tactile devices. That's how they are. If I set it to handheld, we are talking about handheld or cell phone, small screen handheld. This is for mobile devices. And if I change this to print, all the styles I'll do here will be for a printer when the printer accesses that website. Right, so this is everything you need to know about media screen. So try and do some sort of project where you have your website being responsive on a laptop, on a TV, on a computer, normal desktop, on a mobile phone, and everything using the media query. If you have any questions, drop in the comments. If no questions, let's carry on. Okay guys, let's talk about how to float an image into a text. This is the ending part of this awesome course. After this, you learn about the quote and you end with the Bootstrap and learn about how some of the Bootstrap stuff works and how to use some specific websites to build websites easier without writing too much code. Then we will get introduced to the Bootstrap and learn how to add icons to our website. And yeah, that's when we wrap up. Okay, so if you have come this far, make sure to like the video if you've understood it so far, and comment down below all your problems. I will answer them for you. Okay, so in this lesson, I'm going to learn about how to float an image into a text. It's very simple, but this is very useful, especially when you're creating a website and you want to float an image into a text so that the text will not buffer over the image and will make it much more sensible and beautiful and look professional as well. Okay, so on our HTML file right now, let's create a paragraph tag, or let's say h2 tag, and input LOREM and press enter. And this lorem, we copy this. Now let's paste it again and again and again and again. Now if you check in the browser, you can see this how it looks like, right? Let's edit this H2 or H2. Let's give it a font weight of 100, the line height of 1 rem. Alright, now I forgot to link it, so let me link it with the CSS. Let me save this and check again as if this is working normally. Alright, let me make the line height default just like that. Alright, now let's create additional ones for it downwards, and we are going to leave, yeah, let's do something like this. Okay, so this works, and let's save this and check in the browser. You can see we have a lot of random words that we don't know where it came from, but we've written it ourselves. So right now we need to add an image into the website to know how we can hit the image or float that image inside the text very simply. Okay, let's open our VS Code back and locate any place inside the middle of this. So we will select line 19 out here. You can also select any line you want, and inside we are going to add an image there. We are going to set the width to 300 and okay, 350. All right, and the source I already have an image right here. As you can see, I already have an image right here, which is the VLC snap screenshot. So I get the image. If I save this, you can see the image doesn't get into the text. You see, the image comes somewhere and the text also will continue. Now we want some of the text to come to the right side of the image to make it look much more amazing. maybe if you are describing a specific thing, you are describing a specific object on your website, how you can let people know that this is what you are trying to identify, not just put the picture inside the website like that. Right, so right here, let's get the image by its tag name and float it to left and give the margin of 1 rem. The margin should be margin right. Let's save this. And as you can check in the browser, some of the text come here, right? Some of the text floated from the left side to the right side, and the image was in the perfect place, right? As you can see where the mirror picture is. Some of the writings also comes beside it, all right, which makes it look nice. Now we have floated the image into the text. Very nice. Right, let's delete some of the lorem from it and make it look a little amazing. Okay, so I think this is good. Let me also delete the ones from downwards to left. Let's say 4 downwards. Let me save it and you can see this is how we actually want to. Now you can put any kind of text out there, any image. Let's say this image is, you are describing a city, you can put the city image right here. Say this city is New York City, and that's it. And how is this? Harvard is in New York. This is in New York. New York is a very great place. You can do something like this when you're creating a specific website. There will be some time that you will need some sort of thing like this when you are, let's say, creating a website for some specific purpose. Let's say a portfolio website, you can hide your picture out there and you can write. Let's say you're creating a story, Wikipedia, you're writing encyclopedia, or yeah, any kind of thing on the website, you can use it, or you can do it like this. Okay, so this is how we float images into text. Very simple. You can just try and edit the image right here by just adding some border radius of 3rem to make it look more nice. All right, so this gray now, it looks much more amazing. You can also change the fonts family to Sego script. Now let's see if it's checking the browser. You can see the writing is also very nice, and yeah, good to go. All right, yeah, I think everything is in place. You can also use this sort of writing. This text is called Sego script, as you can see here. If you like it, you can use it. Alright, now let's move on to learn about the quote tag, and then we wrap up with the Bootstrap. Then we end this course with a simple outro. Literally, this is a sort of secret tag many people didn't know it exists in HTML. For example, if you want to create a quote right here, let's see, with an H1, you have to do something like this, and you write, let's say, be wise. Right, if we do something like this, it's a quote, right? Be wise. We have quoted it, but we added a quote by doing some strings stuffs out there before, because if we move this, the rest of the code will absent when previewed on the screen. So how do you add quotes to it? The secret tag is just Q. Q is a secret tag. So just enter Q and press enter. This is a tag for quote. So next time, as a professional cascading style sheet, if you are a professional web developer and you are creating a quote in your website or writing a small quote somewhere, you need to use this tag. Right, so let's give it a class of, let's say, quote. Quotes like this. Inside the code, you can write any code I have heard from anyone. Let's say Lenny's Tovado's own. Talk is cheap. Show me the code. Alright, now we've entered this code. If we check, you can see it has already quoted itself automatically for us. Alright, because I've added some sort of styles here, let me save this and check again. Now you can see it has quoted like this. You can see the quotes has affected it. Talks cheap, show me the code, without us adding any double quote or single quote around it. We just use the Q tag. You can style the quotes by just getting it. Let's get the element by class name and style it quote. You can style it by giving it an element called code right here, just like this, and we can give it anyhow how we want to change the string around it. You can give it something like this and something like this. Exactly. Okay, you can, yeah, okay, so we can do something like this, and if we preview it, you can see it will change to something like this. It will not be We can also change it to make it, let's say, plus plus, to give it a different style. Save this. You can see plus plus comes around it without us adding it into the HTML file. So this is how the code works. It's very, very simple. I'm going to show you more sources on how to learn many secret tags in HTML that many people didn't know at the end of this course. Now let's move on to the last part of this, which is a Bootstrap. Alright guys, so in this last lesson, in this advanced CSS, we're going to learn about Bootstrap and also learn about font Awesome as well. Okay, so this is the official website of Bootstrap, where you can download some examples and use them as your own code and change it and use it as on your website for mobile responsiveness. Their main aim is to help you create mobile responsive websites. Alright, so right here, download the examples right here. Download the examples. I've already downloaded mine, so go ahead and click on this download examples button and you get something like this, Bootstrap 5.3.2 examples. Then come to your VS Code and open that folder that you download. It will come in the form of a WinRAR or package file, so you need to extract it. Here is mine. If I head to my document, I have mine here. So if you open the folder after downloading it, you will see there are several areas in here. So we have nav bars, we have pricing, we have signing. Let's check the signing area. If we open this with a live server, you can see it opens a very nice website, and this website is for me. All right, it's now for me, it's no more for them. I can do whatever I want with it. You see, here is the URL right here, and you see it's on my server. It's running on my server right now. So if you run it, it'll run on your own server. So this is it. Please sign in, email address, password, remember me, and sign in. All right, you can also set it to dark O2. You can also set it to, all right here, this is the code. You can change it and use it to do whatever you like. Everything is right here. Everything is right here. You need to, all right, everything is right here. So please sign in. You can change the H1. Please sign in. You can also add another as a paragraph text and say qwesicodes. All right, if you save this and you check in the browser, you can see qwesicodes comes here. Please sign in. All right, it has now become our website, and it's also mobile responsive. If we check how it displays on the phone, you see very, very nicely qwesicodes. Please sign in, email, password, and remember me. You see everything is, and you can change it to the dark theme and to the light theme. Very, very nice, and you can use it. There are many other projects that Bootstrap has built, which you can use for, and you can also use their link straight away. And that one, it needs to you for you to learn advanced Bootstrap for you to know. So this is for mobile dev. If you find it difficult to use the media queries, and use the Bootstrap for the mobile responsiveness of your website. All right, let's check this blog thing. All right, if I open this live server, you can see this also open the kind of blog, US technology, design, culture. This is not like this Bootstrap project. Now we can use this project for our own. You can see it's also mobile responsive. If I view it, so this is how it look like on a phone. All right, and if I, this is how it look like on a Samsung Galaxy. This is how it look like on iPhone 12 Pro. This is how it look like normal responsive. All right, so it's also responsive. All of them are responsive. You can use any of them you like. All right, now let's talk about the icons. Very sharp. All right, the icons, it's called Font Awesome. So Font Awesome, they have something called a kit. So this is my kit right here. I've already signed in, so you need to also go and sign in before you can get your kit. So you just head to fontawesome.com. Link is in the description. All right, just head to fontawesome.com and download your kit. And if you cannot also find a kit, all right, just see the description right here in this video. The description of this video, I've pasted this script link there that you can also use it for your own. All right, okay, so now let's open our VS Code. As I've copied the link, and you have also copied the link from the description. Open the folder right here and select any random folder, not just the one. This is the one that I was using for the course already. All right, now there's the icons. Now let's paste the link right here between the head tags. Oh yeah. Right, so we have the script here. Oh no, I think we should place it at the start of the body. I think it's alright. So let me delete this and paste it here. Alright, now see I've pasted this link right here. Now let me save it, and now we can go to their website again, Font Awesome. Alright, and head to the icons. Click on the icons button. You are going to find numerous items, numerous icons that you can use. Alright, so let's wait for the website to load, but I can also show you a trick. Right here. There are some code you need to use when adding icons to your website. Let's say we have you can give it a class of far home. If we save this and we check in the browser, let me see. Let's run this. I think my internet is a little bit slow, but let me run it. Let me run this with a live server. If it doesn't come, then we relocate the script. Or you can see it's taking some time to load. It's loading the icon. Now let me wait for the icon to come. You see there will be a home button right there. This would have shown us the whole color code. So head to the fontawesome.com/icons, and you would see that numerous icons code will display. But I want to show you an example before, so you will not get confused after trying to use it, to make it useful for you. Alright, let's wait for the icons page to load for us to see the icon. It's taking a little bit longer because of intense connection I am having here. Sorry about that. Let's wait. If yours has come, you can see that it worked properly. This is what you have to do. Just here. I think it just finished loading. Alright. Now nothing appeared. Let me add each one of home right here. Let me take this out of the script to the header, section. Now let me remove this right here from there. Alright, now let me save this. Checking the browser again. Now you can see the icon displays home icon. Alright, let me zoom in a little bit for you to see. See, we have home right here. There are many others that you can use. We can also have far Facebook, but there are, I don't think there's the actual thing, but yeah, there's something like that there. So we have far book. The book icon will also display far pen, far bag. Let's try pen. Let's try contact or something. Pen. You see pen, and a pen displays a pen icon. We can also try another one. Fafa whatever. Fafa computer, or I don't know if Fafa computer is, or Fafa computer. It also comes. There are many icons, and to get most of the icons, links is in the description. To get more icon color codes is on the Font Awesome, and my internet is a little bit slower, but this is how it works. So what you need is the script CDN, the Font Awesome CDN right here, which is the link is also in the description. And you also need the Font Awesome website where you get these color codes, and these are what I was able to remember, and I've shown you how it looks like. And you can use it as an icon on websites, you can use it as a link, and many other things. Alright, I think it came, so let me try and see if it would come. Alright, so it displays successful. Now let's try and get any icon from here. So this is fontawesome.com/icons. Link is also in the description. You can also visit this website to get the icons. Now let me search for Facebook. The Facebook icon. If I search for the Facebook icon, it will show me the color code for the Facebook icon. So here is it. I can choose any I want. I want this one. So if I click on this, you see it has shown me fat brands for Facebook. If I copy this and I paste it inside my browser and check, you can see Facebook is also added to it. You can also search for Twitter or Instagram or any other thing. So this is Twitter. This is X right now. So I want to use like this x.com. Ask Elon Musk change it to X. So we should use X. Now as I've saved it, let me check in the browser. You can see the X logo also displays on my website. You can get numerous icons that you want, that you might use on your website. So you see Microsoft TV, Windows 8K. You can get, let's say, profile. Let's say you are building a social network website or something. You will need this icon as well, user icon. If we save this and we paste it in the browser, you can see the user icon also display right here. All right. So this is how the thing actually works. You can use it in your daily basis activities in your CSS, and you can also add animations to it as well. So applying all what I've taught you throughout this course, you can also use it to edit all these kind of things and make your website look much more professional. This is the end of the advanced cascading style sheet course, and let's wrap it up. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the world of advanced CSS techniques. I hope you've gained new insights, skills, and inspirations to elevate your web design project. Remember, the adventure doesn't end here. Keep exploring, keep creating, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible with CSS. Stay tuned for more exciting content. Until the next time when I upload a new video, happy coding. This is qwesicodes on YouTube. Subscribe for more and help us grow. All right, I'll see you in my next video. I'd like to